Yes, ma'am. Now it will be possible for you to share the screen.
Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am. It's
Is it
visible.
visible?
Yeah, it's visible and
Ah,
it's in the presentation mode, ma'am. You can start.
yeah, right. Good morning, only still, right? It's not at 12 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. So this is an overview of IPRs. Again, I try to make it as pictorial as possible to capture your attention. I know it's a dry topic, but let's make it more interactive. It was nice that you people ask me questions. I want everyone to participate. Don't think that it is a stupid question or silly question. Anything you feel like asking, it's learning, right? Maybe you ask me something which I don't know. I'll also learn from all of you. So just don't feel hesitant of asking anything, and I will try to make it as interesting as possible. Okay. So just if you just see this question, the patent attorney, the legal person fainted when someone asked him. All I asked was, can I patent my copyrighted trademark? So if you don't see any problem with this question, this session is definitely for you. So patent is a different type of IP. Copyright is for literary works. Trademark is for your brand name, and patent is for your innovation. So you can't patent a copyrighted trademark. So it's something we have to learn now. What is patents? What is a patent? What is copyright? What is trademark? We'll learn all these things in our session today. Okay. We all know properties, right? We know kinds of properties. One is mobile property, that is car, pen, furniture, dress, table, chair, etc. are movable property. We also have immovable property like land, building, which cannot be moved. So we are all very familiar with movable property and immovable property, and we have a property law exclusively for dealing with this kind of property. But we also have something intellectual property, which is different from these two things. That intellectual property can be for literary works, it can be for inventions, it can be for your brand names, it can be for your designs, it could be for anything that involves intellect. So that is the intellectual property. So it is intangible. You can't touch and feel the intellectual property, right? Unlike your car, unlike your house, you can't touch and feel. So it is intangible property. And basically, it is created by human mind, right? Either copyright or trademark or your invention, it's all made by your human mind. And the government, the statutes give you exclusive rights, but they are time bound and they are territorial. We learn more and more. Time bound means if I get a patent, it's only for 20 years. If I get a patent in India, I cannot practice in the US. So these rights given by the government are time bound rights, and they're also territorial rights. We'll do more and more little later. Okay. Though we say intellectual property covers everything, generally, I mean, there is not a broad classification, but generally we say that intellectual property again is divided into two. One is copyrights and another one is industrial property. Why is that difference? Because copyright is basically for the originator, it's an exclusive right of an originator of to print, publish, record, perform. It's something to do with literary, artistic, musical. So it's kind of that kind of work that is covered under copyright. Whereas industrial property, like you want to protect your company, you want to protect your brand, then it is a trademark, geographical indications, designs, trade secrets, plant varieties, patents. These are all the industrial properties. We also have a integrated tomography things that is obsolete, so I didn't cover that. So we will go through one by one and we understand what is each right. Now we will understand what is each right. In the afternoon session, we'll figure out how do we register for copyrights, how do I file a patent application. That we will learn in the afternoon session. Now we will understand what is copyright, what it protects, what is trademark, what it covers, what is geographical indication. All those things we learn in the today's session. Okay. So copyrights, basically these are for the books, these are for the movies, these are for the photographs, these are for your music. So anything comes under this thing is covered by copyrights. What is a copyright? Copyright is a bundle of exclusive rights given to the author or creator of the original work. Right? If you are an author or a creator of an original work, you get a copyright. What kind of rights will you get as a copyright holder? You get a right to reproduce. So you can reproduce your own work. You can distribute. You can communicate to the public. You can make translations. You can adapt the work. If you write a novel, it can be adapted to make a movie. You have a right to sell or give on hire. You can either sell it off your rights, copyrights to someone else, or you can rent them out, or you can give them a hire for a particular period. You can do anything with your copyright. Why copyright is needed? Because we have to reward them, right? You are an intelligent author. You are a good painter. You painted something, and someone can't copy your painting, right? You have so much of intellectual creation. So I need to reward you. So copyrights are to reward the authors or original workers for their intellectual creation, to incentivize them for their efforts, right? As you worked so hard, you have to incentivize them. You have to encourage them, not only them, others. Oh, he got a copyright, let me also think. So it will motivate others to do things, and it creates an atmosphere conducive to creativity. This is why we need a copyright. For every IP we will see, there are some requirements. Each one we just learned in the previous session that for patents, it has to be novel, it has to be inventive, it has to be industrial applicable, like everything we have. So for copyright also, we have to have 3 elements. One is fixation, the second one is originality, and the third one is expression. What is it, each one? What do you mean by fixation? Fixation is you have a creative idea, but the copyright is, to register for copyright, it is needed that you fix your creative idea. It has to be logged in permanent state. It could be a writing, you can write on a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be typed or anything. It can just be a piece of paper. It can be recorded on a tape. It can be recorded on CD. But the first requirement for to get a copyright is fixation. You have to fix your work. Expression. Ideas can't be protected. You can't think, oh, I make a movie. Ramayanam is very interesting for children. I'll make an animated movie out of it. You have an idea. Someone came and make an already animated Ramayana. You can't say, he copy. I have the idea first. No, you can't say. Your ideas cannot be protected by copyright. It has to be expressed. Right? You can't just keep on thinking, and you keep on having ideas, and then you can't say that my ideas have to be protected. To protect copyright, to have a copyright on your idea, it has to be expressed. Originality, right? Like your novelty of the patent, here also we have to have originality. Naturally, you can't copy someone else's work and then get a copyright. It has to be original work. It has to be your own work, and it has to have some kind of creativity. It doesn't have to be extraordinary creativity. It has to have some kind of creativity. Suppose take a telephone directory. You write alphabetically, right? A, B, C, D, and you write all the names. You compile and put the phone numbers, address, everything you put. Is that copyrightable? No, there is no creativity, right? It's only a collection of material, no creativity. Instead of that, you take the telephone directory. On that, you create a nice logo, nice design on your telephone directory, maybe in the form of a telephone, or as if two people are talking. Something you created on the directory on the photo. You created a photo or painting on the telephone directory, that is copyrightable. So what basically you have to understand is it has to be original is one thing, and has to have some little element of creativity. It can't be just words, phrases combined together. It cannot be copyrighted. So we have to have 3 requirements. One is fixation. It has to be fixed either on a paper, on a CD, or it has to be expressed. It can't be an idea. It has to have some expression, and it has to be original. It has to be your own work of some creativity. Okay, what all works can be covered under copyright? Literary works. Nowadays, India, we include software under literary works, and we give a copyright protection. Software cannot be patented. You cannot patent a software in India. Software can be protected under literary works, dramatic works, musical works, artistic works, cinematographic films, sound recordings. These all can be covered under copyrights. What is literary work? This is all you all very familiar with. I'm just covering it. Literary work is any work that is in writing, irrespective of the quality or style. See, you don't have to have a 100% quality. You can write anything, whatever you want, and you can get a copyright protection. It's only people who won't read your novel. That is a different question. But to get a copyright, it doesn't have to have quality. Okay, it has to have some originality, some creativity, and some it has to have originality and some creativity, but it doesn't have to have highest quality to get. It will not be checked. It refers to works of prose, poetry, anything that would be under the ambit of literature. Any literary work can be covered under the literary works in a copyright you can get. No copyright if the work is collection of words without any literary skill. We said that, right? Telephone directory, just names, compilation of names, you can't get a copyright. India, copyright is treated as a software program, computer program is treated as a literary work, right? What all we can cover under software? It is a source code, object code, everything, list of programming languages, all covered under a copyright, but you have to submit everything along with the registration. When we register for the copyright, you have to give the source code, object code, and list of programming languages. We all should give them for getting the copyright. This is all copyright protection. This is for the literary works. Now dramatic works. So as the name indicates, I don't even have to explain you dramatic works. Any piece of recitation, choreographic work, scenic arrangement, acting form, fixed in writing or otherwise, this covers the dramatic works. Again, we have separate thing called cinematography films. So cinematography films are not covered under dramatic works. We have musical works. It can have a musical notation, but musical works will not protect the actions. If you are singing and doing some action, the action is not covered under this musical works. And musical works need not be written, but you have to have graphical notation also is good enough to get a copyright protection. Artistic works, it has to be, it can be a painting, sculpture, drawing, photograph, architectural work, anything with artistic thing can be covered under artistic works. Even color scheme, layout or arrangement. If I just told you, right, on the telephone directory, you have different shapes of phones or something very artistically different colors, that also can be copyrighted. Cinematographic films, as the name indicates, all cinematographic films, visual recording of on any medium produced through a process from which a moving image may be produced is covered under cinematographic films. Okay, it's any work produced by any process analogous to video films. If you have any video film, that can be covered under copyright under the category of cinematograph films. Sound recordings, and the recording of sounds can be covered under copyright, and we have, it can be a phonogram or it can be a CD-ROM, can be protected under copyrights. We saw all this in music, literary works, artistic can be covered. Something cannot be copyrighted. One thing is, if it's not original, we already learned, that cannot be covered, but something else like single word, right, or titles, they cannot be protected under copyright. If you have a title Star Wars, see, it's nicely written. Can we have a copyright for this? No, we cannot have a copyright. Maybe we can have a trademark. 2 or 3 sentences, slogans, certificates, right? Certificates also cannot be copyrighted because they don't have any creative. Okay, I'm sorry, this is so and so is getting this. So there is no creativity in that. So certificates are not covered. Recipes are not per se protected by copyright. If you just give, okay, it has rice, sugar, milk. If you give just a list of the recipe ingredients, you will not get a copyright. But you have created a recipe really with some creativity and substantial literary expression is involved, then you can have a copyrightable recipe. Blank forms. Suppose you want to collect some data and you prepared a blank form without anything, just only blank form, name, age, date of birth, address, etc. Just a form, that is not copyrightable. Well, instead of that, the blank form, you made it in a different style. You have to have different pictures, photographs, that can be copyrighted. Basically, I think you're getting my idea. Basically, it has to have some level of, some element of creativity to get a copyright protection. Okay. This has nothing to do with copyright, but generally, I was requested by many faculty and academicians to cover this part because it's extremely important for the faculty academics with plagiarism, right? This is a big deal in the US compared to India, but we are also, I mean, nowadays, this is also becoming a big issue. What is plagiarism? It is basically using another's work as your own work or presenting it without giving any credit. Nowadays, lots of data is available on the internet. So what are the students doing? They just go copy it and they just paste it and submit as a research paper, or they submit it as a thesis, or submit it as a something else. So no problem. Sometimes you can reproduce the work which is available, but you have to give them the due credit, right? From where did you get the material? You have to give the credit. So that is called plagiarism. If you are taking someone else's work and without giving credit, if you are using their work, that amounts to plagiarism. It can be intentional. Students, I know a student who recently, when we had to correct a paper, we asked them to have a competition and we asked them to write something. He just verbatim copied it. I didn't do anything. I just took the one phrase of his essay and put it in the Google, and I got the entire article. So it can be intentional. They're lazy. They didn't want to think, so they just copied and presented it to us. It can be unintentional. Sometimes we don't know, right? We innocently students will copy, so we have to make them aware. Let them copy. If they have to use something for their work, they can definitely do so, but they have to give the source. They have to give the credit from where did they get the material. So how do you, what are the types? You can just copy everything. You can copy as I said, told about the student, or it can patchwork copying. You can copy a part of it, or you can paraphrase it. You read that, you paraphrase it in your own words. That may be slightly better than copying it. Or self-plagiarism. You can copy your own work. So we can. I have already published the same thing. I can't put again and publish it. Okay. How do you avoid it? Use version. The best thing is use your original work. It may be bad English, it may be bad presentation, it may not look good, no problem. You will improve over the time. So just use your own work, be honest. Suppose you have taken a paragraph, give the credit. Citation. There are a standard way of citing the different articles. Cite it. Cite properly. Okay, the citation has to be very clear and direct. Okay, use your own styling, writing styles. Okay, and it may be in a couple of times you have to rewrite, but it's better to do that than copying it. So what is the difference between copying plagiarism and copyright infringement? We will learn infringement a little later, but just to give a broadly, plagiarism is not a crime. It's not a crime. So at the most you may have a academic sanctions. It's for in the academic institutions. So you may get you may not be allowed to participate in the competition, or your thesis may not be accepted, but it will not take anything else. Infringement is totally different. Infringement is you are violating the right. I have a novel and you made a movie out of it without my permission. That is infringement. That can be crime. That can be taken to the court. So that is a plagiarism is only in the academic scenario. Since this is a faculty development program and I'm talking to the faculty, I thought I'll just bring the topic here. It makes more sense, I thought. Infringement is totally a different ball game. Infringement is, the student is not infringing. The student is innocent, or the student needs it to use it for his own purpose. That's okay. So that is the copyrights. Again, just to quickly look at the copyrights, what we learned. For having copyright, we need to have 3 elements: fixation and expression, and the third one is originality. If you have all these things, you have a copyright. Copyrights are available for plenty of works, literary works, musical works, sound recordings, movies, everything can be covered under copyrights. Okay. Now we have something called trademarks. That is a second and different kind of intellectual property. This is totally for the business. This is totally for differentiating your business, your goods from another one. So as an academia, it may not be very useful for us, but it's better to understand what is a trademark. It is a word, phrase, symbol, design, or a combination of everything that identifies and distinguishes the source of goods of one party from those of the others. You go to the mall or you go to any supermarket, what do? You just go, all the detergents will be put in one place, right? Surf Excel or Ariel or Rin, everything will be in one place. So you walk there and you pick up what you want. How do you know what is what? Because that is the trademark which helps you to identify and differentiate the works, the goods of one party from the other party. Okay, so we have a trademark law. We will learn in the afternoon. So it basically says that a mark capable of being graphically represented and which distinguishes the goods and services of one proprietor from those of the others. This is the definition of trademark in the Trademark Law of Indian Trademark Act. We will learn in the afternoon. Okay. So why do we need trademarks? It differentiates, it identifies goods and services. Marks should be distinctive. They should be capable of distinguish the goods and services of from one another. Right? You can't have same mark. If a mark is already registered, you cannot go for the same mark because your mark should be different from someone else's mark to differentiate. And we have trademark law. Why do we have a trademark law? It is basically protects the business's reputation and goodwill. It protects the consumer from deception, and it is valid for 10 years. Trademark has a validity of 10 years, and you can keep on renewing your trademark till you decide to discontinue. Okay, so what is the difference between TM and R? Generally, we see this, right? if you have a TM trademark, that is for an unregistered mark. Trademark need not be registered. Even like copyright need not be registered. We will learn in the afternoon. As soon as you write something, it's already, you get a protection. But tomorrow, if someone infringes, how do you prove? How do you say that I have already written this, I have this is my own work? So for that, we go for registration. Otherwise, for copyrights, trademark, you don't have to register. But this is a foolproof method. So we will generally request all our people to register them. So TM is for unregistered trademark. R is for the registered trademark. As I mentioned, registration is not necessary, but if you have any problem tomorrow, it's better to have a certificate and go and say, see this, I have got this from the Patent and Trademark Office. I have a evidence that this belongs to my brand. So you can ask someone for the, if someone tries to copy your trademark, then you can go behind them. Unregistered trademarks are only protectable with the geographical area. So if you are using, suppose olden days, where is the trademark, right? Olden, if you look at the olden sweet vendors or someone, they don't have any trademark, right? So they keep on using, and everyone is very familiar with that name. So that is because of the use, they are getting the, they get the well-known status. So that kind of status will, but they will be effective in only that particular geographical area. So if someone else can copy and use that word elsewhere, so it's better to have a registration of the trademark. I mean, this is everything we can figure out. Why do we need a trademark? Or it is basically to have a brand. It is basically to give you a recognition of your source. Where are you buying from? Who's making this? So to this trademark gives the recognition of the source. It holds the goodwill and reputation. So right, if I am buying Surf Excel, next time I'll go to only Surf Excel, right? It's a, I'll go buy, if I'm happy with that, I will go only to the Surf Excel. I will not go buy anything else, right? It's basically an instrument for advertising and selling your goods. It creates loyalty in your customers. If your product is good, your customer will go back, will search. Even if they put so many other things, I will search for my trademark. I'll search for my brand and I'll pick up only that. So this kind of develops a bond with customers, and thus it improves the sales, and also it gives you the goodwill, right? So sometimes your color, your shape, they can give the unique selling proposition. Sometimes children, how do you attract the children, right? If you have this is a kinder about that, something kinder, something like it comes, no one chocolate comes in the shape of an egg. So it's basically the selling proposition. He made it, the children will be attracted towards that and they'll buy that. So what can be a trademark? As like your copyrights have so many different varieties, trademark can be a name, a logo, a device, a heading, label, ticket, signature, word, number can be a trademark, a mascot can be a trademark, packaging, trade dress can be, you can have a trademark, and it can have a composite mark, you can have a combination. So just like quickly look at the different things, see the names, right? Aditya Birla Group, Nirav Modi, these are all the trademarks, Mercedes-Benz, these are the names of people which can be used as a trademark. Napoleon, Caesar, these are all the names. Logo, Audi, Pepsi, Adidas, Nike. So they all have a logo. So the minute I see, most of you recognize it, right? I don't even have to say what is what. BMW, this is a composite mark. BMW has a symbol as well as a wording, so as well as the letters. So it's a composite mark. Nestle has a good food, good life. They have a slogan, they have a picture, they have their brand name. So Pepsi has a name, they have a name as well as a logo. So it can be a composite mark. It can be a label, right? It can be Chivas Regal, it can be a label. It can be a ticket, it can be attached to the dresses, jeans, pants, or some Wrangler, etc. And it can be a signature. Signature can be also be trademarked. And numbers, 555, right? It's a washing soap. And we have 787 is for Boeing. It's just 787, that's all. You can't use 787 anymore because 787 is a registered trademark for Boeing. Letters, IKEA, right? IKEA is there in Hyderabad now. It's a company where you can do it yourself. You can buy everything there and you can do it yourself. You know the funny, how did the IKEA name come? IKEA. The author, the person who designed this is having the first two letters are his name and the last two letters are his place. So he's, I don't know how to spell, Ingvar Kamprad, Elmitarid, and something else. So it's basically IKEA is, it's very arbitrary. He just picked up these four letters and he called it as a trademark. And you can have a geographical name as your trademark. Mont Blanc, Monte Carlo, Himalaya can be a trademark. Our common word, shell. Shell is a seashell, right? But that can be used for a petrol or diesel products. Diesel is used for denims. Idea is for phone. So words with no meaning. Kodak. Kodak is for cameras. What is Kodak? Is there any meaning? Pepsi, is there any meaning? Adidas, is there any meaning? No meaning. It's just a word. It can get a trademark protection. MACDs, right? Tires. All these things are the trademarks. No one can copy them and you can use them. And packaging and trade dress. How you dress your product, that can also be protected as a trademark. So no one else can copy it. And word marks, right? It can be style of using, can be symbol, logo, color, everything, slogan. MACD has so many trademarks. I am loving it. Is a slogan that can be protected under trademark. These are all, no, there are unconventional trademarks like a shape can be protected, color, sound, smell, slogan, hologram, motion, taste, anything can be sometimes covered under the trademark. So we have a registered color as trademark in India, right? So this is under class 9. And again, all these things are very well-known network systems. They all are colors as trademark. Shape as trademark, Coca-Cola bottle shape, Vicks tablet and double round chocolate. These are shapes as protected, so no one can use these shapes. Sound, Harley Davidson bike sound. See, you have to submit your graphical notation of the sound and you can get a trademark for it. And Windows, when you open Windows, you get a music, right? So Intel has asked for a trademark for that sound. So this is just a quick question. So you all must be knowing, right? Hey, right choice, baby. Which one is that? Unfortunately, it's not a client interactive session, so we can't figure out. This hey, right choice. Let's make things better. Yeah, let's make things better. Anyone? Any guess? Let's make things better.
Whirlpool. Samsung or LG?
No. Hey, प्यास है बड़ी. I'm loving it. जी ललचाए रह न जाए.
ये प्यास है बड़ी Pepsi.
I'm loving it is McDonald's.
MACD, correct. जी ललचाए रह न जाए. No need chocolates. Alpenlibo.
Yes.
डर के आगे जीत है.
Dew.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew. टेढ़ा है पर मेरा है.
Kurkure.
दोबारा मत पूछना, right? So the slogan, see how you recognize. It's just, I mean, it's nothing to do, right? It's imbibed in you. We see the advertisement, we buy things. It just imbibed in us. It just happens. Things. Okay. So this is a trademark. Now, similar to trademark, we have something called a service mark. Exactly same as trademark, but trademark is showing protecting the goods. Here, this is protecting the services. A service mark is same as trademark, except that it identifies and distinguishes the source of a service rather than a product. Like, for example, MACD. MACD has a product, but McDonald's is a service providing agent. They sell things. AT&T, Walmart. These are all the service marks. Okay. Now we learn trademarks, and how do we choose a trademark? So we know now it's very sad to see some, we will learn a little later, it's very sad to see some trademarks becoming so generic, right? What do we say? Xerox this book. Is that right? Xerox is a verb, Xerox is a trademark, but now we are using it as a verb. Google it. If you have any questions, Google it. That's wrong, right? Google is not a verb. Google is a trademark, but it became so generic that it's lost its trademark. So we will just, so how do you choose? So better to choose the entire group of companies and separate mark for each. Maruti Suzuki is an entire trademark for Maruti, but they also have different trademarks for their different cars. Zen, Estilo, Swift, etc. GSK, Glaxo, they have GSK, Panadol, Iodex, Horlicks. Horlicks is made by Glaxo, but they still have another trademark. So this is a better way. You have an entire product one and then name each one. P&G, Procter & Gamble, see how many trademarks they have. They have P&G, they have, in P&G, there are so many trademarks for each product, they have a trademark. How do you choose? Shakti Bhog, I'm making a agarbattis, I'm making incense sticks. Can I use Shakti Bhog? Yeah, nothing wrong. Shakti Bhog is used only for atta. But why you want to check a chance? Think something else, no? Why you want to confuse the users? Definitely incense sticks, agarbatis are very different from flower. So you get a trademark maybe if you apply. But why unnecessarily take chance? Go for more creative trademark. BlackBerry for water bottles. Absolutely no, nothing wrong. You may get BlackBerry is already used for phones. The different classes, right? They're very different classes. So you may get a trademark, but better to avoid such things. So while creating, be very creative. It can be an artwork plus logo plus slogan plus legal entity. So it will be very nice. If you have a composite mark or if you have a very creative mark, it's very easy for not anyone to infringe on your trademark, not for it not to become dilute. Dilute means it becomes very generic. So how do you choose? Basically, legal aspects. We have conditions again for trademark. It has to be distinctive. We'll learn. It has to have some legal aspect. It has to have a marketing aspect. It has to appeal to the customer. So these are the requirements. See, again, every IP right has some requirements to get a protection. But we learned from patents, novelty, industrial inventiveness and industrial applicability, fixation, originality, and expression for copyrights. Now for trademark, it has to be new. If you see everything, it has to be original. So new, it has to be distinctive, and it has to be non-descriptive. We will see what it is. It has to be, should not be contrary to moral or public order. You cannot have a naked pictures and ask for a trademark. So it can't be contrary to moral or public order. These are the requirements for the trademark. And how do you avoid diluting your trademark? So don't use it as a sentence. Let's play with the Lego bricks. Don't say Lego is your trademark. So let's not use it as a sentence, and don't use it in plurals, right? Legos never say that. So one thing, best way is writing is Lego with a TM. Lego, all capital letters. If preferably it should be all capital letters with a TM or register mark. Okay. So if you want to say something, you say that let's play with Lego toys. Let's play with Lego boats. Don't say let's play with Legos. So it becomes a verb. It becomes too generic. If preferably you choose a trademark which is very fancy. It's just made of words. Random, Kodak, Pepsi, Adidas. No meaning for that. Just bring up some words. Very random words is the best thing to get a trademark protection. Those are called fanciful words. Arbitrary. Arbitrary are real words, but different. Apple is for phones. Apple is a fruit, right? You can use apple for phone. So that is, apple is an existing word, but it's very arbitrary. Nothing to do with fruits, right? Fanciful is made of words. See what are the fanciful examples we have? Kodak for cameras. Excuse me. Kodak is for cameras. Apple is for computers. If you want to use chicken of the sea for tuna fish, it's not very good, right? Chicken of the sea means something to seafood. So it's kind of suggestive. So you may have a problem. And descriptive, park and fly. You want to fly, you want to use this name for airport parking services. It's very clear. Everyone uses, hey, you park your car there and fly. Everyone will say that. So that is not really a very good trademark. You can't definitely use apple for apples. You can't say some apples for protecting apples. Why? Because everyone calls apples. So it's not unique for you at all. So what happens? That's not just now we learned, right? How we are losing some trademarks, right? Escalator is no more existing. Escalator is actually supposed to be a moving machine for climbing the stairs. Now everything is, escalator is a company, right? But that is become so generic. Thermos flask. Thermos is a company which started a vacuum flask, and now every vacuum flask is called thermos. Aspirin is a drug used in US very commonly for any painkiller, right? So these are the trademark dilutions. Xerox became a diluted mark. So Band-Aid, Walkman is nothing to do with it. Walkman is a company name. It's only for a portable audio player, but now it became so generic that everything is called as a Walkman. So be creative. So just why you have to be creative? To minimize the infringement, to get a registration. It can be an arbitrary or it can be fanciful. The best thing is, the strongest trademark is fanciful, arbitrary, then suggestive, and then descriptive. So descriptive is useless. So it has to be fanciful. So why can't we use apple for apples? everyone has right to call Apple, no? So you can't get a monopoly to call Apple as Apple. So these are the generic terms. So can any product trademark become generic? We just learned, yes, it becomes generic because people start using the trade name as a product itself. They forget it is product. They think that it is the product itself. Escalator, right? I told you, escalator is for a moving machine, moving staircase. Now, no more any moving staircase made by any company is called an escalator. Thermos flask, any vacuum flask is called as thermos. Any adhesive tape, transparent adhesive tape is called as a cellophane. So they fought, but unfortunately, nothing could be done. Aspirin, every painkiller is called aspirin. So how do we do that? So we can do something, we can prevent the public and make it clear that it is not the product name, it is the trademark. So do not use, in your advertisement also, do not use it as a product, use it as only as a trademark. So never say bring 2 Gillette razors. I mean, so don't never say that bring 2 Gillettes. Say 2 Gillette razors. Gillette is a razor. So don't use the plurality of the trademark. Please Xerox this wrong. So Xerox should be used with a trademark or with a all caps. So similarly, either use all caps or use them in the quotes, or bring a word brand, Budweiser brand beer, something like that. By using it, you be careful such that it will not become a generic name, generic trademark. So never say I drive a Honda. Always say, I mean, I'm talking from the perspective of a business, we won't say it doesn't really matter to us. So a business should never say that we drive Honda or we drive a Honda car. We own 2 Honda cars. I love my Honda car, something like that. So where you don't use it as a product, use it as a trademark. So if you think that it is becoming generic, so you can completely change and use the entire. So first rollerblade was used for inline skates, right? Now rollerblade is used for any kind of skating products, pads, sticks, helmets. So that way we can at least reduce the dilution. If any media is using, please send them a friendly letter saying that please don't correct it, and you can send them you can correct the media. If your competitor uses your trademark, immediately try to take a legal help and see how you can stop it. You can send a cautionary note. You can even write to the dictionaries to use it, right? Who can own a trademark? Not necessarily companies. You can own a trademark. If you find something, if you have a product, you can use as an individual, you can have, municipalities can have, cultural, religious organizations can have, NGOs can have a trademark, anyone can have a trademark. See, these are all the WWF, worldwide, like this thing, Save the Children, Child Rights and Youth Cry, right? These are all the, not individual companies, these are all the organizations. The Board of India can have a trademark. So these are the trademarks. Basically, it differentiates your products from others. We'll go quickly. I think we'll be running short of the time. We have GIs. What is the difference between trademark and GI? Basic difference is GI comes with a geographical area. So you talk about a tea, for example, that has a peculiar taste depending on the soil where it grows, depending on the environment, climatic conditions. So it has the characteristics of the geography where it is grown, right? So that is a geographical indication, and geographical indications are not for one person, it's for a group of persons. Okay, so what is geographical indication? Is another kind of IP right. Okay, so it is indication which identifies goods as agricultural, natural, or manufactured. If you are making a wine you are making champagne in somewhere in the Europe country, it has a typical way of making. So you cannot make champagne in Bangalore and call it as champagne. So it has to have some characteristics of the place where it is either grown, where it is manufactured, where it is naturally available. Okay, so it basically provides legal protection, it promotes economic prosperity, and anyone, it's not for individual person like trademark for one, not one for one company, it is association of persons, producers, organizations can register. It is valid for 10 years like trademarks and can be renewed. Okay, we'll just quickly go through. See, Darjeeling tea, Assam tea. Why? Because the climatic conditions in Assam are very, very different. So the soil is very different. So they give kind of aroma. They can give a typical characters to the tea. So you can call Assam tea only if it is grown there. You cannot grow tea in Chikmagalur and call it as Darjeeling or Assam tea. Different mangoes, right? Alfonso, the cherry.
Ma'am, Nagpur orange can be,
Yeah, sure. Is there some right? It comes, just wait. It comes. So Mallige, jasmine flowers, right? Mysore Mallige, they're all, because they have a typical fragrance based on this. You know, Coorg orange, Nanjangud banana, right? These are all different. Nagpur orange. I don't know whether it's registered or not, but Coorg orange is registered. Iron ore. See, this is naturally occurring in Goa. So it is protected under the geographical name as Goa iron ore. Assam handicrafts. So these are all the things which we get. Now, I think in India, we have around 370 geographical indications protected. So handicraft, these are all protected under Tirupati Laddu, right? You would have heard Laddu made in Tirupati Balaji temple has kind of different taste. So that is protected under GI recently. So your cane work, your
ma'am, I
bamboo
have
work.
a query over here. If you permit me to ask.
Yeah, quickly, because we have
Yes.
so much to cover. Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. Please go ahead.
See, Trishur Puram in Kerala is one of the geographical indicator, as I think Trishur Puram, that a festival. But there was a controversy when one of the music, engineer, he, they sold that right to Sony. Is one of, and those who later used that video, that music in their content, they got a copyright strike in various YouTube videos and all. So is any cultural piece of like anything cultural factors or any this kind of music tones which are related to particular place can be copyrighted and protected by a particular entity?
Yeah, copyright is possible. Geographical indication for the music, I doubt very much.
Because what the tone,
It
what
can
the
be copyrighted,
Panchavadya
but
way
sure.
they used in Trishur Puram, it is a copyrighted by Sony, and
Okay.
it was a huge controversy once.
Okay. I'm not aware of the case, but I think music can be copyrighted. But yeah, unless it is already known and it's already used by people. I don't know whether Sony can copyright it.
But it's that particular
Ratish, you
content
want to add
belongs to the
something?
public. No, it's a part of their particular particular place, the culture and
Yeah.
celebration.
Yeah, then it will not meet the requirement of originality, right?
But
For
the thing is,
copyright, it has to be
later on,
original.
whoever used that piece of music in various their content, and they got copyright strike from the Sony saying that it is our right.
Oh, I'm not aware of this.
Ma'am, actually, it is like whatever music, if it is, copyrighted, it is not, you won't be able to play it on YouTube, right? You'll get a copyright
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
strike.
Yeah, but what his question was, it's already very well known to the people of Trishur or whatever place in Kerala. They had been using it. So how now Sony came and copyrighted it, he says. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Ma'am, maybe they took a recording of it and then copied it, but still, I don't think it's a traditional cultural expression of Kerala. I don't think it's a GI.
Yes, it's a cultural expression of Kerala. One of this Oscar-winning content creator, Rasul Pukuti,
Rasul
once he
Pukuti,
recorded
he
it and he
recorded
sold
it.
the right to this one, Sony. And later on, whoever used that content, that audio in the, in some respective videos, they got copyright strike from various sources.
If it is Maybe for the sound monetary recording. I purpose- don't think it's right to do that because it's a traditional cultural expression. But I think the sound
Yeah.
recording as a work can be used. Maybe that's what Rasul Pukuti got a copyright on.
Great notice was issued only for using the sound and not for using the word Trishur Puram. Trishur Puram is a common thing. It belongs to the people. Nobody can copyright that.
True.
So that's what I'm speaking about. That sound, that specific, the Panchavadya tone, that tune, it belongs to that particular the celebration. How it can be a part of a
Maybe
company?
he recorded I think he recorded the whole the whole program that was happening that day, like the people cheering to it and the Panjavadyam.
No, the
So
thing is
maybe
artificial
he
intelligence, it
copyrighted that
identifies.
The thing is,
specific
suppose
work. That's what
the
I
thing
think.
is,
I'm not
suppose
very sure. I'm just a student.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
no,
just
if
typed in.
my question is like something like if I'm attending that function and I'm recording in my personal mobile that particular event and I'm posting it in my particular personal YouTube channel. So someone else also attending and he is copywriting it,
AI
definitely I will
will
get
identify,
copyright.
artificial intelligence will identify the title of your recording. If you say
Yes,
it is a
exactly.
music of Trishur Puram, again YouTube will automatically raise a copyright question mark.
Yeah.
Like that only it happened.
You will have a right of, if we keep apart the TCE problem.
Hold on.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Hold
ma'am.
on. It's very interesting to know, but let's move on. I have so much to cover.
Okay,
We'll
okay,
just move
okay.
on. We'll discuss it. We have
Yes,
so
yes,
much
yes.
to cover.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No problem. Very interesting. But actually, we are all scientists now. We have to spend a lot of time on patents rather than these things. So we will definitely come back to this.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So geographical indication basically to the geography where it's coming from. Okay. Now we have something else, plant variety protection. So this is again, this is only exclusively for India. You all know, I don't know whether you know, in 1995, we became a member of World Trade Organization, WTO. And then we also signed for TRIPS, trade-related aspects of intellectual properties. So when we become the members, we have to follow the conditions of TRIPS. So TRIPS says that the breeders have to be protected. If you're breeding a new variety of a plant, it has to be protected. Then TRIPS doesn't talk about protecting the farmers. So then India said, no, we can't have, we have to protect our farmers also along the breeders. We have to also protect our farmers. So we have something called as sui generis system. Sui generis is one and only system. It's our own. We agreed to TRIPS. We agree we are members of WTO, but we also have to have some protection. So we came up with a particular act called as plant variety protection. So it basically provides legal protection of a plant variety to a breeder, exclusive rights to a breeder of the registered variety. You can grow potatoes and you can register. We have a controversial case on this also, Pepsi versus Gujarat farmers. We will see time permits. We will see that. So then India said that we will also want to cover the rights of a farmer. Besides the commercial plant breeders like Monsanto and who are making seeds, that's fine. But we also want to protect our farmers. So we have a Plant Variety Protection Act. Again, the conditions for every IP has to have some other conditions. So this has to be, if you are developing a seed or if you are developing a tuber or anything like that, for that matter, it has to be distinct, right? It has to be distinguishable from the other one, at least in one character. It has to be uniform. I should be able to reproduce. Today I make one potato, I go and file for the plant variety protection. Tomorrow I have to reproduce. I should have a uniform production and it has to be stable, right? So these are the conditions for a DUS, distinct, uniform and stable, to get a plant variety protection. So this is a plant variety protection. Now we have industrial designs. What is a design? So lots of confusion between trademarks, designs, copyright. So for one product, you may have different protections. You can apply under trademark, you can apply under design, you can apply under copyright, but there are distinguishing features. For design, it has to be only shape, configuration, pattern, ornament, or composition of lines or colors. It cannot have any functionality. If you talk about a functional element, it has to be a patent. Okay, so you can get, if it is only designed with a very artistic color and it is protecting your brand, you can have a trademark also. So it's not very, you see, that's why you need legal help to ask what all the different IPs I can get from one creation. Okay, so again, what are the requirements? It has to be new or original. See, if you look across all the IPs, it has to be new or original. You can't copy and you can't get a trademark, you can't get a design protection, you can't get a trademark protection, you can't get a patent. For everything, it has to be new or original. It should not have been published before, right? Design should be your own design and it should be significantly distinguishable from known designs. And again, it should not be scandalous or obscene material. So more or less similar kind of requirements for a design protection. So what all we can see, these are all the design protection. So only shape, if you talk anything about this brush, that this brush can bend and go inside the cavities and clean, that will become a patent. Be careful. Under the design, you can only protect the shape, ornamental design, color, combination, etc. But you cannot have any functionality. The minute you talk about functionality, it becomes a patent. Okay. So pharma products can be, all your injection vials, injection syringes, capsules can be protected under design. And textiles and jewelry can be protected under the Design Act. So this is I just briefly covered, because being scientists, most of you are being with engineering and science background, we will need to spend more time on the patents. So we will just cover everything briefly. Now, till now, we covered copyrights, we covered trademarks, we covered GIs, we covered designs, we covered plant varieties. Now we look at the trade secrets. What is a trade secret? A trade secret is a formula. It can be a pattern. It can be a physical device. It can be an idea. It can be anything, but not known to the public, right? Not generally known or reasonably ascertainable. I can't see a product and figure out what it is. If it is easily ascertainable, if I can easily figure out what is the ingredients, then it's no more a trade secret. So it has to be. It has to give you a business, it has to give you an economic advantage over your competitors. That is a trade secret. So you have to keep it as a trade secret. Only disadvantage with trade secret is if your competitor reverse engineers it and makes it, you have no protection. Okay, it can be a formula for sports drink, survey methods, recipes, anything can be protected under a trade secret. Computer algorithms can be also trade secrets. As I mentioned, the only disadvantage with the trade secret is if it leaks, if it goes to the public, you have no protection. You can't say, oh, it leaked, it's mine, it's my trade secret. You cannot go. So the main important requirement for this is nothing like a novelty, novel design. The only requirement trade secret is secrecy. Just keep it as secret as possible, right? So we have, right? KFC, the thing, the 11 herbs and spices is in a bank vault. Can you believe it? So the secret recipe for 11 herbs and spices is in a bank vault. Very few people know it, and they are all sign contracts to keep it as secret. The ingredients are mixed by 2 different companies in 2 different locations and then combined in a separate location. So see how difficult it is to maintain a trade secret. How extremely difficult. If it leaks, you have no protection. To mix the final formula, computer, see, we have 2 different ingredients to mix that the spice, the thing. Then so one is made in one place, second one is made in second place, both are combined in third place, and finally we use a computer program to mix them. That is a KFC herbs and spices recipe is a trade secret. Google search algorithm is a trade secret. Coca-Cola, you all know, right? No Coca-Cola 2 top executives will fly in the same flight, because if something happens, right, the secret is lost. McD's Big Mac special sauce, Krispy Kreme donuts, these are all protected under trade secrets. So now come to the most important part of our presentation, or of our whole thing as scientists, as faculty, researchers. This was most important IP for all of us. From morning, we talked about technology transfer. We kept on talking about innovation, IP and all. Most of it belongs to patents. I mean, most of it relates to patents. Okay. Let's look at how we are evolving. See how we are evolving. We initially invented a wheel, single wheel. Then we made 2 wheels and made it as a bicycle. Then we made 4 wheels and made an automobile. And then we went still ahead and we made a luxury cars. Right? We are evolving from 1 wheel to 4 wheels to the luxury cars. Right? So how do you, this is your idea. You worked hard to make it happen. So how do can I copy it? You worked day and night. You thought about it so much. You worked in the lab. You came up with a nice product. Can I just copy it? What is the advantage? What is the incentive? You will not feel demotivated to work more hard. So you have to protect your hard work. So that is your patent, applying for a patent protection. It protects your invention for 20 years. No one can reverse engineer. Unlike trade secret, in trademarks, you can, in patents, reverse engineering is not accepted. So trade secret, we don't have any document, right? It's only as long as you keep it secret, it is secret. For patent, you have a patent application. So if someone reverse engineers, you can go behind them. You can ask them, you can sue them for their infringement, right? So it is really high value of protection, and your benefits start from the date of filing. So it's a right granted to inventor by the government. So inventors can exclude others from making, selling, or using the invention for 20 years. So no one can go without your permission. They cannot make, they cannot sell, they cannot use your invention at least for 20 years, or as long as you pay the maintenance fee. Okay, it has a lot of benefits. It protects your research and development efforts. It gives you an edge over your competition, and it offers the customers something very new and different. It creates a brand value. It is effective in marketing your instrument. It monetizes your creativity, right? By technology transfer, you have a granted patent, you can transfer, and you may not be able to always make your product, right? You are in a faculty member, you came up with a very good idea, you can't commercialize it, but that doesn't mean that you will not get money out of your hard work. So you transfer your technology to someone else who makes it and takes it to the market. Let them share the royalties with you, so you can monetize your creativity. You can create a fence against your infringers who you try to use your technology without your permission. You create a fence against you. So how do we say is the history of patents is not new? It started way back in Sybaris. So those days the chefs used to make a recipe, and they get for 1 year no other chef can make a same recipe, same item, same dish. Okay, so those days way back in 500 BC itself, something, your invention was, your creativity was protected by monopoly given for you by 1 year. And then we have Florence. Keep reading this. So in Florence, there is one architect. We all know Italian marble is very famous, right? So they used to move the marble from one place to another place. Italy is full of rivers or canals, so they have to move it across the water. It's very, very difficult. So this person first came up with something which he can easily transport the marble from one place to another place. Those days, the guilds were there who were ruling the country. So they never used to give anything, but first time they recognized this engineer and they gave him a patent, and they said that no one can make this without his knowledge. So he created a ship or vessel. Basically, he created a boat kind of thing where he can transport marble from one place to another place, and then he got a patent. Those days they didn't never call it as a patent. They just called it as some kind of right, some kind of monopoly to him, to the engineer, to make. He can only make the kind of ship or kind of transport vessel. Then we have also in Italy, right? Florence, we all know that Merchant of Venice is a novel, famous novel. So we have a whole, it's a hub of business. Venice is a hub of business, right? So the first patent, officially, we have a patent statute in March 19, 1474, in Venetian patent statute, it's called. So they said that any new or indigenous device not previously made. So those days, it's not, inventiveness is not there. They said it is to be novel, right? This is the condition, and we got the first patent statute in 1474. Those days, the protection was given only for 10 years. Then, as the Venetians moved from one place to another place, the patent system also moved along with them. Then UK has the statute of monopolies. They also said that your inventor can get a 14-year period of exclusivity. In 1710, they have statute of patent. And then we have US. US, the first patent was given on for making potash, right? He made potash, and he got a first patent in the US. So it is way back. Basically, what I want to cover is patent system is known, very well known, quite long time back. Even in India, we have a patent. You remember British ruled us, right? And in Calcutta, it used to be very hot. So they need some air, and they don't want to see the Indians. They feel that they are dirty. The queens and their friends used to sit and enjoy the food, and they don't want to see the Indians. So they designed something called as panka pulling machine. So there is a panka in the center. They keep pulling it so that it will blow the wind. So we have one Britisher who lived in India, and he got the first patent. His name is Deepening, George Alfred Deepening. He got his first patent for making an efficient panka pulling machine. It happened in March 3rd, 1956. So 1856. So we do have patents even in India way back. Then he kept on getting more patents. We have a law firm on his name still in Calcutta existing. Deepening law firm is still there. Once he got the patent application, he started helping others. So then slowly he started a law firm, and that law firm is still existing in Calcutta. Okay. So what is a patent? It is an exclusive right, right? It is granted to the owner of an invention to exclude in others' territory covered by the patent from making, using, offering for sale, importing, or selling the invention. So no one can do these things without your permission if you are a patent holder. They are jurisdictional and it is a territorial right. What do you mean by that? If you file a patent application in India, you cannot fight, you cannot say that don't make in the US. So you, to get a protection of your invention in the US, you have to file in the US too, right? So patent rights are only jurisdictional, they are territorial rights. It's valid for 20 years, provided you pay the fees. It's an intangible property. So these are the general terminology we use in patents. Most of them we are familiar with now. Morning also we discussed. Inventor is the one who invents. Applicant is the one who applies for the patent application. Suppose you are an inventor, your university applies on your behalf, right? You can't pay money. It's very expensive process. So you can't pay, university applies. So university becomes an applicant. I work for Philips. I'm an inventor. I assign my rights to Philips. Philips becomes an assignee, right? So these are the licensor. You are your TLO. You gave the license. You are a licensor. Some company came and took your invention. They licensed your invention. They are licensee. These are the general words: inventor, applicant. Be careful. Inventor is the one who invents. Applicant is the one who applies on behalf of the inventor. Still you'll be inventor, okay? On the patent application, your name will be there as an inventor, but applicant, assignee may be different. Applicant may be your university, assignee may be Philips. So it varies different. Okay. So in India may be the only country which says which inventions are not patentable. Generally, all the other countries says which inventions are patentable, but in India is the only country which says which inventions are not patentable. That is called Section 3. Section 3 exclusively is very, very controversial section for the developed countries. They don't like Section 3D, especially. We'll come to know, we'll just discuss a little later. So Section 3 is the one which clearly says which inventions are not patentable. The first one, Section 3A, it is contrary to natural laws. So if something, you say that I have invented a machine, it gives more than 100% performance. Is it possible? Right? It's not possible. Performance can be calculated only by input by output by input into 100, right? It can't be more than 100%. So something against contrary to law, you cannot protect it. Machine which has only destructive purpose cannot be patented. So gambling machine, house breaking, you want to design a device for the thieves to how to nicely break the house, it's not patentable under Section 3B. Section 3C, anything if you are isolating from nature, plants are not patentable in India. In the US, it is patentable. So we have a case law. Someone developed a vaccine, okay, that is for basically to treat the poultry. The chicken and the chicks used to get a disease. So one inventor has come up and he developed a vaccine. The vaccine has a virus, right? I mean, to kill the virus, he has to have the virus in his vaccine. So the patent office said, no, this cannot be granted. The patent cannot be given to this because it has a natural living thing. The patent office rejected. Then the court said, look, this is a vaccine. Yes, it has virus, but you can sell vaccine as a vaccine. It is vendible. It is saleable. So it is acceptable. So this is how it actually goes. You apply for a patent, it goes to the examiner. He rejects, then you can go to the court if you're not happy. So Section 3C basically says that things isolated from nature are not patentable. So Indian Patent Office said this vaccine is not patentable because it has a virus. Then the High Court said, no, this is not correct. The most controversial section, I think most of you are very well aware of, is Section 3D. Section 3D is really hated by US and European countries because we have a condition saying that, especially for pharma companies, if you want to have a patent, your product should have therapeutical efficacy. So, okay, what do you mean by that? You have a product, you made a product, you made some salt, and it's working well. Now you want to have a different kind of salt, same, material is same, you want to have a different ester or different acid of that, then you get one more patent, right? So you get protection for one more 20 years. So that is called as evergreening. This is only for developing countries, especially India. So you can't keep on getting patent protection one after the one salt, then there's one compound, then it's salt, then it's ester, then it's something else. You can't keep on getting the patent year on year or 20 years. So no one can really afford the medicines. No generic companies can make those medicines. So the Supreme Court, in a case, it's a very, very important case. It's called Gleevec judgment. Basically, it said that you can't say that I made a product, now I made a salt of it. The salt dissolves very easily in water. It has thermodynamic stability. You can't say that. The court said that you cannot have a patent for simple little advantage. It has to have therapeutical efficacy. They define that it has really changed. Now you are treating it with a one dose, you are treating with 10 doses. Now with this new medicine, are you treating in one dose? Then I'll give you. You can't say that my now drug dissolves very easily. It tastes very good. It is very easily digestible. No, court said it cannot be given. So this is a case between Novartis and Government of India. So what is the question here? So they have a patent for imatinib mesylate. They already have a patent. Now they made a beta crystalline form. Same compound they made in a different form, and they want to get a patent out of it. The court said that no. In pharma cases, efficacy is only therapeutic efficacy. You can't say that, oh, it is tasting good, it is dissolving well. No, will not be acceptable. It has to be only therapeutic efficacy. The one more thing behind is Gleevec is selling one tablet for 4,000 rupees, whereas the generic version is making it for 30 rupees. So here India also played the public interest. From morning, you remember we kept on talking about public interest. This is the public interest. So the court ruled against Novartis. So Novartis was denied the patent. So that's how these developed countries are very unhappy. They can't get patent protection unless they pass the Section 3D. So you cannot have an ester, you cannot have a salt, you cannot make just some chemical little change and cannot get one more patent. So this is Section 3D. So, and Section 3, you cannot have a mere admixture, cannot be patented. So you know paracetamol, you know Brufen, you can't mix paracetamol and Brufen and make a drug and get a patent. You know sugar, you know colors, you can't add and get a soft drink, you cannot get a patent. It's just mere admixture. You are just mixing two known things and making something is not patentable. But if the mixture is making some different properties, you can definitely get a patent. Fat, you make soap. Soap has different properties than fat and alkali. You can get a patent. Mere arrangement or duplication, right, is not patentable. You know a bucket, you know a torch. You want to take the water from the well in the night, so you don't know what is the water level, so you can fix a torch to the bucket and take water. Yes, very useful. But you know bucket, you know torch, so bucket with torch is not patentable. Umbrella with a fan, clock with a radio, floor mill with a sieving. These are all very known things. You can't just mix them and get a patent out of it. Method of agriculture and horticulture are not patentable in India. Naturally, we are an agricultural country. So if you keep on these foreign companies or someone comes and make a method of agriculture and horticulture patentable and they say you can't use it, that is not fair, right? So we say these methods of agriculture are not patentable. However, agricultural equipments are patentable. Methods of treatment and diagnosis are not patentable. They are patentable in the US, but in India, methods of treatment are not patentable. Plants and animals are their parts, are not patentable. Seeds, varieties of species are not patentable. Be careful, plant variety is different. See, for example, Monsanto came and applied for a patent. That is a transgenic plant. So the patent office said no patent for you. It's a plant. But then the court interfered and said that no, it's plant, but it is transgenic. So much of human intervention went inside. So that has to be, that should not be rejected under 3J. So if you, what I mean to say here is, if it's just a plant, you can't patent it. But if a lot of human intervention went inside the plant cell, then it can be patented. So mathematical or business methods are not patentable. Those can be patented under copyrights. We just learned literary and dramatic works are not patentable. They can be they can be protected under copyrights. Mere scheme of rule, method of performing games, etc. are protected by copyrights. Presentation of information cannot be protected by patents. Topography of integrated circuits, we have different. So these are all not patentable under the things. Okay. Traditional knowledge, especially 3P, section 3P says that traditional knowledge or aggregation or duplication of known properties is not patentable. We have developed, India is the first country to develop basically we are the only ones who have so much of traditional knowledge. So we developed something called as TKDL, Traditional Knowledge Digital Library. It's searchable, right? If someone applies for a turmeric patent in the US can search the TKDL and can reject the patent. And TKDL is available in 5 languages. So this is India's this thing. So inventions related to atomic energy are not patentable. Okay, so till now we learned what are not patentable. Now we'll see what are patentable. For learning patentability, we have 3 conditions. It has to be novel, it has to be inventive, it has to be having a industrial applicability. Okay, how do you write? Your morning I said that we have to have a patentable invention. How do you identify that it is patentable or not? So just look at the technical work, what you are doing. What is the problem we are solving? Check with others, your seniors or your co-researcher or co-faculty members. Is it really new? I mean, is it, what do you feel about it? Okay, and it's not already in the market. And then if you have all these things, if you are convinced, then go to a patent professional with an invention disclosure. How do you write an invention disclosure? Please be brief and precise. Tell exactly what is the field you are working, what is the problem you are facing, how did other people try to solve the problem, how are you solving this problem? Write everything in clearly in terms. You use the block diagrams, flow diagrams. Just very explain why your solution better than others, what are the other benefits. If you write everything, just it's very clear as a patent attorney for me to understand. You are the baby. It is your baby. Your invention is your baby. You know it better than anyone else. So please explain in clear, simple words to patent attorney how to draft a patent application. So you can have a what are the things it can have? It can have a title. It can have the what is the problem we are solving. I mean, this is again varies from company to company, right? You can have an idea if it's called invention disclosure form. You can have your own form, but generally these are the things you have to cover. It has to have a title. It has to have a problem to be solved, how others have solved, brief description, detailed description. How is your invention better than others? Give me as many diagrams as possible. Give me as many examples as possible. Give me the literature you know. If you give me all these things, I'll be able to do a good job. So if you read it on your own again, so if it is understandable by a person who is not expert as you, you are the master in your field. I am not as an expert as you. So can I understand that? Keep me in your mind while preparing the invention disclosure. So then we'll write it. I think this is only how do we write the patent application? Same thing we can write. So I think we can skip them. I think we'll be running short of time. So background, these are the parts of a patent application. So generally maybe unless you try to draft your application on your own, anyway, we'll quickly go through. It has to have a title, and title should not have more than 500 characters. Okay, you should not use the words like new, improved version and all is not acceptable. Generally, we don't use an article in your title, and it can't be too general. It can't be a steam iron. Give something, steam iron with a vent, something like that, capacitor. It can't be just very broad title. It has to have some description. And you have to give a background. What is the problem we are solving? Then you have to give a summary. And then you have to give the figures, right? Figure 1 is a top view, figure 2 is an exploded view, figure 3 is a perspective view, etc. We can give. And detailed description. This is the part where you have to really describe it. Brief description is only brief, whereas detailed description, we have to write very clearly how do we make the invention, how do we process the invention, full, clear, and concise, concise and exact terms to be enable a person who can easily make and use your invention. You have to write so clearly. See, why is that? Government is giving you 20 years of monopoly, right? So if what you have to give in turn? You have to give a clear, very clear details of your invention, so that whoever is taking license from you will be able to practice it. So it has to be very clearly mentioned and very clearly written. So drawings are necessary. So you can have a different drawings. First can be a broad drawing, and it can become specific. And at the end of the patent application, you have to have an abstract, right? It cannot be more than 150 words. Abstract is basically a gist of your invention. And this is the most crucial part of your patent application. That is called claims. Claims defines your metes and bounds. You have a property. How do you protect your property? You put a boundary wall. You put a compound wall. So claims are the boundary wall, are your compound wall for your invention. If you do not claim, someone can infringe it. Okay, they cannot patent it because you already described in your detailed description. But if you do not claim something, they can use it without your permission. So that's where we request the technical people to take some legal help. The patent attorneys are trained to draft a patent application in techno-legal language. You are a technical person, but you may not have the legal skills to draft the claim, especially the claims have to be written properly in proper format. You tell me A. You invented A. I will try to cover A dash, A double dash, A triple dash. I try to give you as much protection as possible. That is possible by drafting very good set of claims. Claims can be in a sentence format. It can be independent claim, dependent claim. It has to start with a capital letter. I think this is basically for drafting claims. I think you may not be interested. So this is claims have to be in a format of a funnel. So you start with the broadest scope and keep on coming down to the narrowest claim. If you are not careful enough, you start with narrow claim, you're losing the breadth of the invention. So that's where we need to have a legal expert who can cover the invention as broadly as possible. He gets you protection, as broad protection as possible. So this is claim drafting is generally done in a way of a funnel approach. So your independent claim, the first claim should be broad and keep on narrowing it down with the real features. Okay, so how does the claim look like? Suppose you have a chair and you have a plank and it has 4 legs. How do you write your claim? A chair comprising a rectangular plank and 4 wooden legs attached to the rectangular plank. So the a chair is called a preamble. Comprising is called a transition phrase, and body of the claim is rectangular plank, 4 wooden legs, etc. So each claim should begin with a capital letter and should end with a full stop. Comprising versus consisting. Why we are using the transition phase as comprising? In plain English, either it is comprising or consisting, both are same. In claim language, comprising is open-ended, consisting is close-ended. What do you mean by that? If you say, my chair is comprising plank, legs, if you use the word comprising, it can have something else also. It can have, if you say comprising A, B, it can have A, B, and C. But if you say a chair consisting A and B, it cannot have C. So, I mean, it's too much for you to understand. Basically, these are called transition phrases, comprising and consisting. Comprising is open-ended. It can have many elements what you haven't disclosed. Consisting will have only those elements which you have disclosed. So each claim will have a preamble, transition, and a body. Okay, it can be an independent format. It can be a dependent format. They have to be supported by specification and drawings. Okay, so what you have to keep in mind, patenting is a very expensive process. So don't file patents indiscriminately on every idea. So that's what morning we learned. When you go to TLO or TTO, they first evaluate, because patenting is an expensive process, especially if you want to file abroad. If you want to file a patent application in US or you want to file a patent application in Europe, it's extremely expensive. It can cost anywhere around $50,000. But from the day you apply to the day you get a grant, it can cost so much money. The drafting, the translations, it's so expensive. So judicial, just be careful. Don't file patent application indiscriminately. Do a prior art search before even you approach any patent attorney. Just do a prior art search. Now you have Google, right? You have Google patents are there. Just Google your idea. Take some keyword and just see it. If anyone has already done it, just do a prior art search. Okay, if yours is a very specialized area or specialized technical area, then what we can do? We can go to the experts for doing the novelty search. But preliminarily, basically, you can do your own search. Then you are clear, it is no one has done this, you are the first one, it is new, it is novel, it is inventive. Then you can approach a patent attorney or you can file your own patent application. Budget is extremely expensive. Okay, so just to recap, we have to have 3 conditions. It has to be novel, it has to be inventive, it has to have some industrial applicability to get a patent, right? So sorry I rush you through because too much of material I had to cover. Now next session we will understand how do we register them. Now till now we just learned different forms of protection. Copyrights are done for the literary works, trademarks are done to protect your brand name, and geographical indications are used for protecting the geography. As a group of people can apply for geographical indication. Designs can protect your designs without any functionality, and plant varieties can protect you the farmers' rights, and patents finally will protect the inventors who do the inventive work. And if they meet all the conditions, you can go for a patent. So there are differences between each. Patent and design are very different. Design is only for shape. If you bring any functionality, that has to be protected under patent. So I know it's 1 hour session will not be able to take you through and make you an expert, but at least get a gist. If someone tomorrow asks the question of first slide, right? If someone asks you this question, now you surely will be able to tell, no, you are wrong, right? Now can you answer this question? Yes, we can answer this question. Patent is different. Patent is for inventions. Copyright is different. Copyright is for literary works, dramatic works, musical works. Trademark is for protecting my brand name. So these are very, very different IP rights given by the government. Thank you all. I mean, I don't know, I rushed you through things, but basically I thought I'll give you a gist of the whole IP rights.
Ma'am, I have a question if possible, or I can
Yeah, sure.
Ma'am,
please go ahead.
When we do a patent search, when we are doing a novelty search, we have to see the novelty globally, that whether the invention is not in place in any part of the world. But once a patent is granted on any technology, and then the concept of territoriality applies. Like suppose a patent applied in India, granted in India, but again, then this patented invention can be used by anybody else in any part of the country. It's not. Why this is so?
I understand your point. Yeah. Okay. So there is novelty also. Before it used to be different. 2 types of novelty used to be there. One is absolute novelty. Okay. So absolute novelty is, it should not be any, even in cartoon, even a cartoon can kill your novelty, right? So even newspaper cutting can kill your novelty. You are right. I understand. There's you cannot patent it if it is known anywhere in the world, but you cannot enforce it unless you protect it. That's what your question, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, that's how is the patent law. That's how is the patent law. You know, maybe now they are planning to abandon completely the patent system. Maybe you'll have one patent internationally. It may not happen soon. There are talks. There are thoughts of considering one patent across the globe, but I don't think it will happen so soon. So you are absolutely right. That's called absolute novelty. So not you are talking about information in the US. It can be a newspaper cutting in any language, in Chinese language, can kill your novelty. I think there is a comic, right? If you drive a scooter in a rain, you have specks. So what happens? You have water falling on your specs. So in the cartoon, there is a viper. It's a comic cartoon that killed the novelty of having a vipers or the glasses. So what I'm saying here is it need not be a technical paper. It need not be a patent application. It can be any newspaper cutting. It can be any comic can kill the novelty. That's the strict, that's called absolute novelty. It has to be novel, absolutely novel.
Yes,
So-
thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. Yes, you can, novelty can kill you anywhere, but you cannot have a protection everywhere by filing one application.
Yes, yes.
It's very territorial. The
Yes.
patents are territorial.
Ma'am, we have
Yeah.
one question in
Anything
the
else?
chat
I think
box.
we'll.
Yeah, it's
Sure,
from
sure,
Dr.
please.
Jitendra Kumar. If anyone made video for education purpose and posted on YouTube, if all images and GIFs taken from internet source, it may create copyright issue. Would it create copyright issue is what he wants to say.
Yeah, I think a lot of controversy is going on. There are some exceptions for the infringement. Some are called fair use. Okay, again, where do you draw a line? What do you mean by fair use? It's for educational purpose. It's only for teaching the students. You're not making money out of it. Fair use, absolutely, it's not infringement. But where do you draw a line? Are you charging? Are you getting money by doing something? Then that is be an infringement. So it's very, very gray areas. They're not black and white. This is called a fair use. Jitendra, it's called a fair use if you are using exclusively for teaching students. I take some material from the internet, I use it to teach my students. I'm not making money out of it. It's fair use. Or I'm taking a patent application and I want to do research. Fair use, absolutely fair use. I'm not going to, I want to release a drug, but I have to wait for 20 years for the patent to expire. No, what I do, I take the patent, I start working on it now, right now, to get the approval. Fair use, it's not infringement. So where do you draw a line? That is a gray area. So where is the fair use? The minute money comes into picture, it's no more fair use. It's only for educational purposes. It's only for research purposes you are using. Absolutely, it's not infringement. We'll look at these aspects to some extent in the afternoon session. When we are talking about registering, I try to cover a little of infringement because that again itself is a big session. Talking about patent infringements or copyright infringement, copyright violations is a big thing, but afternoon we are doing to some extent. Maybe that will address you. There are some exceptions for violations. Ratish, you want to add something?
No, ma'am, no. I think there are no further questions in the chat box. So if anyone wants to ask a question, you can directly pose it to the resource person.
Okay, ma'am. One last question from my side. This is Imran again. I don't want to waste time. But if suppose
Yeah,
the same question which I asked, if suppose, ma'am, there is a patent in your name in India and
Okay.
I am in China, you haven't got any protection in China, and I start using that invention for making money, whether I would be liable for infringement or there is no.
No, you are not. I didn't protect in China, right? That's the sad thing. That is a sad thing. So you can
Okay.
practice. Absolutely, you can practice. I can't come behind you because I didn't protect in China. So maybe in the afternoon we will learn something called as international patent. We will just learn a little in the afternoon session. Yeah, you are right. So you can practice in China happily without any liability. You can
Okay,
make
ma'am.
money. You can whether you make in China and bring into India, that is not possible. That is called parallel imports. So you
Yes,
can't do that because I have a patent in India. You can't import it into India without my knowledge, without my permission.
Yes, that's I know. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Ma'am, I do
You
have
are
a query.
right.
Hello.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please go ahead.
Ma'am, myself Murali Krishna calling from Andhra Pradesh. Is
Yeah,
any
tell me.
novel idea can be patented? Is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean by novel idea? It can't be a wish list. You can't say that I want to go to moon. It has to have some. You don't have to have real
Actually,
experimental data.
my ideology is to have the idea of renewable energy technologies. So we are there to have a lot of investment being put upon. So why
Okay.
can't we make sure that two sides or like the two kinds of renewables can be made into one technological device or an instrument, so with which we
Okay.
can draw.
Yeah.
That can be patented, right?
That can be patented if it's not that novel. And one more thing you have to keep in Murali in mind is inventiveness. So I know A, I know B, I can't mix A and B and patent it. That is called inventiveness, right? A person skilled in the art, you are a renewable technologist. So
Yes.
I am also a renewable technologist. So I see Murali's invention. Oh, what is this? I know A, I know B, he combined. So what? It's so obvious, right?
Yeah.
So that is another pattern. Novelty is easy to overcome. Novelty is basically you have to show A, B, C. If the prior art doesn't have A, B, C, you are good. But
Okay.
inventiveness is very, very subjective, very subjective. So examiner will say that. So for example, I'll give you an example. Initially, in olden days, we used to make the doorknobs with wood. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so wood
Yes,
is getting wooding is getting wet and it's getting spoiled. So someone wants to replace the wooden knob with a metal.
Yes,
But
yes,
there is
absolutely.
a paper which talks that metals are stable. So the examiner said, no, it's obvious. Wood gets spoiled, everyone knows. Metals are stronger than wood, that also everyone. So he combined both and he said, I will not give you patent.
Okay, fine.
So
But
that
the thing is
called
actually, ma'am,
inventiveness.
once again, I do have the problem is that in today in this world, so like the solar and wind energy technologies were there to have a lot of investment being put. If there is a possibility of integrating both to make sure that we do have a hybrid system, so can't it be patented? I do say
That's
it's
what.
mixing.
How much inventiveness has gone?
Okay,
You
to what
yourself said
extent
that,
it
right?
is? Okay, right. And to the
Exactly.
efficiency, the extent of efficiency it has produced, right?
Exactly. Because
Okay.
you yourself said that, right? I have
Yes.
this problem. Why can't I combine? So
Yes.
you are a technical person. I am a technical. It's obvious to me, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
One day I sit
Absolutely.
and think, oh, solar energy is there, wind energy is there. Why can't I
Yes.
combine? So idea comes to me also, right?
Of course. But actually, I do have a prototype. Yes, ma'am. I do have a prototype. I was there,
Okay.
mechanizing it actually. So if it is that the prototype gets ready, can I get that prototype patented?
Sure.
It will not possible.
It's possible. Why not possible? We have to search. Okay. You may
Okay.
think that, but you can go to either of law firms or anyone for doing the novelty search. They'll come back to you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Patentable research. Absolutely possible. Don't keep yourself away. You can try it. Nothing wrong.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
Thank
It's
you,
a
ma'am.
nice
All the best.
presentation, ma'am.
And surely you will definitely get the patent. Try it out. Don't give up your idea.
Thank you,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
ma'am, this is Imran again. I tried to connect with you on LinkedIn. Ma'am, I hope you are there.
I'm
Can
on
I-
LinkedIn. I will accept your invitation. I'm
Okay,
on LinkedIn.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, can you give your email? Ma'am, is it possible?
Ratish?
Yes, ma'am, I can share it with them. No
Yeah.
issues. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much, ma'am.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much, ma'am. Thank you very
All
much.
the best. Yeah. So we'll afternoon we'll meet at 2:00 and then we'll discuss how do we register each IP.
Yes, ma'am. Just the official vote of thanks is due. So may I request the person responsible for the vote of thanks may kindly do the needful, please.
Yes, sir. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes,
Am
Anina.
I audible?
Yes, Anina.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, all. I'm Anina Vincent. I'm a student in IUCPRS school, sir. It is my great privilege to say vote of thanks to this session. I hope all you guys enjoyed this informative class because of it is so informative to me. First of all, I would like to thank to Dr. Remini ma'am of LexOrbis for giving this informative and useful session. And we know ma'am is continuously taking today's 3 sessions for giving more information about IP. So thank you, ma'am, for your sincere dedication. Ma'am, this session begins with by saying what is intellectual property, and ma'am give vast information about it. And the presentation is so interesting because of it consists of many pictures and pictorial representation. I think it covers about the A to Z of IP. So it is so interesting, ma'am. First, ma'am said about copyright, then says about copyrightable subject matter, then discuss about non-copyrightable subject matter, then said about plagiarism and its comparison with copyright infringement. After this, ma'am said about vast discussion about trademark, then says about geographical indication, plant variety protection, industrial designs, trade secret, and ma'am said about patent from his history to its how to apply patent application. All these are vastly covered through this session. It is so informative because of I'm a first year student, so it is it is so good for me. Thank you so much, Remini ma'am, from the bottom of my heart. Next, I would like to thank you. Next, I would like to thank IUCPRS and Atal Academy